Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi Bismillah
وعليكم السلام.
ar-Rahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa bihi nasta'in wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wa mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Today, inshallah, we will continue with our thing which we started last week. Last week, we were discussing of all a quick summary of all the different type of contracts we use in Islamic finance. Okay, not only for Islamic banks, and the Islamic finance is a wider area than banks. Okay, so let me go through the function of an Islamic bank first. Okay, so normal banks, what they do, the conventional bank, they just borrow money and lend money on interest. Okay, this is their main. This is their main. What you call their function. In addition to that, they do other things like guarantee, and also they do remittances and so on. No? So these are service based, and the loan base is the giving and taking loans and from depositors and giving loans to people who require financing. Okay, one interesting point I'd like to point out to you is it's funny, Alhamdulillah, actually conventional banks, we think that whole 90% of the banking work is haram, but actually what is happening actually is in US especially, the conventional banks, now the last time I read the book, 52% of the profit from conventional bank is now halal because they only have about 48%, if not mistaken, or maybe it's 52%. 52% of the profit earned by conventional banks in the US, especially, is coming from interest, and maybe 48% is already coming from fees, which can be halal. Okay. So basically, we hope that, like in Japan, we hear of zero interest banking in Japan. It's very funny. All right. So, inshallah, hopefully, even conventional banking, actually, conventional banking also can convert to Islamic banking in the sense of, if they charge more for their agency fee and just make some of the contract Sharia compliant, then they will not, no problem, But unfortunately, it's a political will on some countries and some, okay. So that's the thing. Now let's go to our this thing here. So in Islamic banks, what they do is first of all, they do investment management. They take your money, which you invest, and then they invest for you under either an agency contract, wakala contract, or Mudharaba contract. Okay, we studied what Mudharaba is later. Then the other one is they do financing. That means financing is not investment. Investment is a long term, you invest and then profit or loss is shared. Okay. Whereas financing is they give normally based on, like in conventional bank, they give on interest. But here in Islamic bank, they give financing using Islamic contracts such as Ijara and Murabaha, which we did a little bit last week, but we'll do it a little bit more this time. Okay. When we come to those topics. Then besides that, they offer financial services like money transfers, letter of guarantee, and so on. So of course now the money transfers are becoming easier with this Western Union, and then now wise transfer and all those transferring, now UPI and all that. Okay. So this one is hopefully when we have this BRICS settlement, BRICS bank and BRICS money change, then we will be independent from this this UK, US, Western SWIFT, this thing. Okay. So it's become easier for people to send money nowadays. Then, of course, the Islamic banks are supposed to provide, it's not compulsory, but they're supposed to provide social services by giving Qadr Hassan and so on. Okay. So basically, what they do is they set a percentage of some banks, like Mizan Bank in Pakistan, they set a percentage of the profits and put into a Khadr Hassan fund. And from there, they do give Khadr Hassan, that means interest-free loans to really poor people and organizations, NGOs, which do good things and so on. Okay, normally they tie up with NGOs, we do social services and they give them Khadr Hassan or even some profits, some grants. Okay, so this is the main four function of Islamic banks. Okay, now let's go to deposit products. Okay, so in the context of financial services, okay, safekeeping custody of funds. So normally when we do in a conference bank, we have current and saving accounts. Okay, so in Islamic bank also we have current and savings account, but the contract use is different. In a conventional bank, they use a loan contract where you deposit the money either current or savings. So it becomes a debt to the bank. So it means we give a loan to the bank. The bank will have to return our loan whenever we want. In case of current account, whenever we want on demand, deposit they call it. Saving account, maybe you save for a longer time, and whenever and then they will give us interest on these accounts. But in Islamic bank we cannot do that, so they use different type of contracts. In the Middle East, like GCC countries, they use Qard al-Hasan contract, which is non-interest benevolent loan. So you're actually giving money, all right? So you give Qard al-Hasan to the bank, they keep it safe for you, all right? They keep the money safe, and whenever you demand, or even if you can give Qard al-Hasan, but normally you don't do it for a fixed deposit type of account. So you just give a current account or saving account, you can give Qard al-Hasan, and whenever you want the money back, they will give you, okay? Or they use another contract called Amana, trust contracts, okay? So we'll try that a little bit. Then Islamic banks in Asia, like in Malaysia, for example, they use Wadi'ah. Wadi'ah, yad damana. Wadi'ah means safekeeping. Okay, it's an amana, it's a trust contract. This one, the Wadi'ah contract is not actually just confined to money contracts, but also to things. For example, if you are going on a holiday, you might lend your car to not lend actually, you turn over the car to your neighbor for safekeeping and say, please keep my car safe, all right, inside your compound locked, and then please, after 2 months I come back, please give back the car to me. So this is a safekeeping contract. And then this was practiced, as you know from hadith, that even the Jews used to keep their things like shields, with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and when they come back, he would return it to them, okay? So in this case, actually, the cost should be borne by the depositor, but basically, normally they do it for free, right? It's just a trust between neighbors or whatever. And then they give it back the thing without any extra or any less, okay? So the depositors will keep their money in safe custody of the bank, repayable on demand. So here, they use Wadi'ah or Wadi'ah Damana. Now, normal Wadi'ah contract, you cannot make use of the thing which you loaned. For example, supposing you give a car to your neighbor, he cannot use the car unless you give him permission. Unless you give him permission, then only he can use the car. Okay. Otherwise, he cannot use the car. He has just to keep it safe. All right. Okay. Now, but of course, when you give the bank money, you don't expect, just what you call just for them to keep it only. But they add another thing. The bank will have to use your money, right? So they first of all they'll get a permission from you to use the money. Second, because the money can be lost when it is used, so they give you another one called damana. Damana is a guarantee. They guarantee that, okay, I will use your money, but when you demand it, I will give you back. I guarantee that I will give you back the money whenever you demand the money. Okay. So this is Wadi'ah yad damana. That means Wadi'ah in hand with the guarantee that you will use back, they will give back the money when you demand, and they guarantee, even if they lose the money, they have to guarantee to give it back. So that's why in banking this is used, Wadi'ah yad damana, Wadi'ah yad amana. Okay. Okay, and then okay, let's go on. So in both cases, no interest is paid unlike the case in conventional banks. Okay. However, when the bank uses the funds in investment and financing, it makes profits, right? So sometimes it gives a hadiyah or hiba to current account and saving account holders entirely at its discretion. but increasingly because of competition with the conventional bank, they do give savings account. They do give even if under Wadia they used to give lah. But in Malaysia, this contract has been this thing because for now the Sharia committee has decided that the fatwa that you cannot, of course you cannot promise anything, but even anticipating also cannot. So now they said now they don't give anything on current accounts. Okay, on current accounts they don't give. It's on hiba. Sorry, it is on wadia. Okay, the current account is based on wadia, but they don't give hiba or hadia anymore. Okay, last time they used to because of competition. Now they don't go anymore. Okay, and also savings account they switch the contract. Savings account now they don't. If you want to give my return, they don't use wadia anymore. They don't use wadia anymore. They use Mudharaba. Okay, Mudharaba. Okay, all right, Mudharaba contract. Okay. So what are the fifth rules in wadia? Okay, so wadia is a contract where an asset is placed with another party for safekeeping. Okay, so it can be physical things like car or even your what they call washing machine, whatever. Okay, or you can, in the case of banks, it's money. Okay, it's money for safekeeping. So the inherent nature of this wadia contract is trusteeship. Okay, in Islamic banking is called wadia ya damana. Okay, ya damana means without guarantee. Okay, in that case, unless you give permission, they can't use the money. But normally you will have to give permission in a bank. Okay, so in the Arabic words, the custodian, the bank is called the wadi, and the depositor is called mudi. Okay, the asset must be deliverable. That means you have to pass it over. Identifiable. You have to be identified. Okay, and consistent with the principle of Sharia. Okay, all right. So the custodian must return the asset to the depositor according to the agreed terms. For example, you can have a deposit, for 3 months, or you can deposit for 1 month, or you can deposit on demand. That means whenever I ask, you return the money. The parties may agree on a period for the contract. Okay, as I said earlier, 1 month, 6 months, whatever. But normally you wouldn't want to give on wadia because you don't get anything back. So bank ensures the safety of the asset in its custody. Okay. Now the bank is not liable for any loss under wadia. Okay, for any loss unless it is due to its misconduct. Ta'addi. Okay, misconduct, that means somebody commits fraud in the bank. That's misconduct. Okay, so they have to replace. Okay, somebody take out your money from your account without your permission. All right, and then they have to be responsible for it. Or negligence. Sometimes they are negligent, and then, for example, the system is not very good, or they didn't check your signature properly, and then they give out money, then that's called taqsir in Arabic. Or breach of condition, which is called mukhalafa al-shurut. Okay, in that case, the bank is liable for the money. But any normal loss, okay, or damage is not liable. The bank is not liable. Okay, but normally, because they are using the money, they become liable. But under the wadia contract, strictly are not liable unless it is wadia ad-damana. Okay, all costs must be borne by the depositor. But normally we don't give the money to the bank, isn't it? You're using our money, somehow you want money from me. But actually, because sometimes, let's say you place your car with your neighbor, he has to safeguard it, right? So he has to put a special lock on the gate or put an alarm system. So the cost must be borne by the depositor. Okay, but in banking, this is not practiced. But the Sharia is you have to buy the. Well, of course, the bank says you don't have to pay me anything. Okay, so it's okay, that's free. So that's why it's free. Okay. In actual wadia, the bank cannot use the asset without express permission of the depositor. But since the bank wants to use the money, the contract uses yad ad-damana, and this one we already contract. So the bank guarantees the return of the intact asset on demand or at the end of the period, and can be constituted as a qad contract, deposit as the deposit. Qad contract, not qad hasan, qad contract, okay, as a deposit fungible. Okay, so in the Middle East they use qad hasan. So in the Middle East, as I said, they use Qadar Hasan instead of Wadil. Okay. Since there is no fixed deposit accounts, which are interest based in the Islamic bank, they have investment accounts based on Mudharaba. Okay. So increasingly, especially in Malaysia, a hybrid contract which has Murabaha, Wakala, and Tawarruk is used. Okay. We'll discuss that under commodity Murabaha later on. Now, Mudharaba is a partnership in which one or more parties, the Rab al-Mal or Sahibul Mal, they provide the capital. So you deposit the money, you are the Rabul Mal or Sahibul Mal. Okay. And then you contract with another party, which is the bank, the Mudarib. They provide the labor. That means they take care of your money and they invest the money. They invest the money. Okay. Provide the management expertise or entrepreneurship. Okay. So this can take several forms which are discussed in the coming slides. Okay. So let's take a case of bilateral Mudharaba. Here is one party, the Rabul Mal, the depositor. He gives the bank, let's say $1 million. Okay. You are a big rich one, you give $1 million Islamic bank and they invest for you. And then you agree on a profit share. All right. So let's say it's 70 for you and 30 for the bank. So what they do is they take, let's say $200,000 here, 70-30 profit sharing. You agree beforehand. They invest the money. Let's say they get profit, $80,000. So you get 70% of the $80,000 you will get to the Rabul Mal, the depositor. And if it's okay. So 70% is 56,000, isn't it? So 70% of 80,000 profit is 56,000. So 56,000 will go to you and the bank will get 24,000. Unfortunately, if it is a loss, then you have to bear 100% of the loss under Mudharaba, and all the $80,000 loss will come to you. So your capital is reduced by 200 minus 80, become 120,000. Nauzubillah. Okay. So all right. So this is the case. Okay. So here in this, all your capital is invested by the bank. But then normally you do not have $200,000 to deposit, right? So maybe you have $1,000 to deposit. So what they do? They have multilateral Mudharaba. So what they do? They have so many depositors, all right? Rabul Mal 1, Rabul Mal 2, Rabul Mal 3. There are hundreds of depositors or thousands of depositors for, let's say, savings account, okay, under Mudharaba. Let's say Mudharaba account, all right? So they collect and pool all the money. They collect and pool all the money and then they invest. Because you put $1,000, how to invest $1,000? You cannot buy a motorcycle and lease it out. No, you can't. All right. So let's say to buy an automobile, three-wheeler, you have to have 2 to 3 lakhs. Okay. So you can't put 10,000 rupees in the bank and they say, okay, invest for me. No, it won't do. So many people, they put 10,000 each, then they have a lot of money to finance, okay, to give what you call, do the investment. And then after that, make profit, they share. How they share? First of all, this one, if they do directly, then there's a profit, then what you call, in this case, for example, we take the equal capital, okay, equal capital. So in this case, if the profit ratio is 70-30, so first the profit is taken by the bank, 24,000, because they put 100,000 each. All right. And then 200,000 is invested. So they get, let's say 80,000 for the whole 200,000. So they get 24,000. Then the balance of the, what do you call it, 56, right, is divided equally between the two depositors, okay, which put 100,000 each. So we have complication when you have multilateral Mudharaba because each depositor might have different. So in actual case, what happens is many depositors, they put different amounts, not the same amount like here. They put different amounts. And then they also have different period terms. Well, one guy might put the money for 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. So they have to, when they redistribute the profit, they have to consider the time that you put in the money and also how much you put in. So they will adjust according to the proportion of the capital and proportion of the time period. and then they will what you call distribute the money. Okay, we'll do that. All right. So I just finished this. So this is Mudharaba is in this case the depositor gives the money to the bank is a mudarib one. Then Islamic bank goes into let's say maybe a co-financing or some sort of a joint venture with another company, and and they do the investment. So in this case, what happens is the investment is first gives profit or loss. This if it's a profit shared by the entrepreneur first, and then what goes to the bank that is shared again between these the depositor. So in this case, you'll get very much less in this case, and because the Islamic bank used to do it like this, very low returns was provided to the depositor. So basically, it is not used very much now. Okay, thank you. Inshallah, I'll be providing some notes later on, and that will be put in the resources page of the thumbnail, and later on you can download it. We will inform you when the notes are. Assalamu alaikum.